1 billion is a huge number. It's almost too big to visualize a billion of anything. Let's play a little game. I'm going to give you some numbers, and without doing the math, you try to guess how long it would take you to earn $1 billion. Are you ready? Let's say you find an incredibly lucrative job that pays $2,000 per hour, and you work full-time, 40 hours per week, 52 weeks per year without taking any vacation time. How long would it take you to earn $1 billion with your labor? To make things easier, let's ignore inflation and assume you never have to pay taxes and save 100% of your pay. To help visualize how long it will take to become a billionaire, let's start way back in the past. Once upon a time, in the year 4 BCE, a child was born who would grow up to maybe perform miracles or maybe not. I think I've covered my bases there. Meanwhile, you, a humble child of 15 or so, have just entered the workforce. You managed to find a job picking apples that for some insane reason pays $2,000 per hour. Not bad for a first job. You take a deep breath and pick your first apple. After your first month of work, you can afford a nice house, but you decide to save all your money instead. You want to see how quickly you can become a billionaire, so you keep your head down and pick those apples. After 35 years of loyal work on the apple farm, you take a weekend to sit down and count your money. You find a nice scenic spot and sit down to start the long process of counting your fat stacks. Off in the distance, you see a crowd of people putting up an art installation or something. Can't really tell. After an exhausting few hours of counting, you finally know how much you've made in the past 35 years. 145,600,000. You're now 50 years old, but you feel like you can still manage at least another decade of work. 20 more years pass, and it's getting harder to reach up for the apples. You're about to sit down to catch your breath when you see something you've never seen in 55 years of work. It's a golden apple. It's a little too high to reach, so you climb up your stack of $228,800,000. You pick the apple, make sure no one is looking, and take a bite. Suddenly you feel rejuvenated. Your aches and pains are gone, and you're a radiant young stick figure once again. You feel like you can work forever, so you start picking apples again. Day in and day out, you pick apples, 40 hours per week, 52 weeks per year. You hardly notice the passage of time. One day you look up at your stack of money, and on a whim you decide to count it. You can hardly believe it. $1 billion. You did it. The year is 237 CE. The Roman Empire is embroiled in crisis, rocked by rebellions, civil wars, and political instability. From the birth of Jesus, it had taken you 241 years of full-time work at $2,000 an hour to earn $1 billion. You're proud of yourself, but you're still eager to work and make even more money. So you keep picking those apples. 40 hours per week, 52 weeks per year. Time becomes a blur again. After a while, you stop briefly and look around. The year is 478 CE. The Western Roman Empire has fallen. You've just made your $2 billionth dollar. You have worked full-time without vacation for 482 years. But you're still feeling good. What's 482 years? You've still got a lot of work left in you. So you keep picking those apples. $2,000 per hour, 40 hours per week, 52 weeks per year. For over 5 centuries you pick apples, one after another, day after day. The year is 1000 CE. Leif Erikson has just made the first European attempt at settling in North America. You have worked for 1,004 years, and your stack of money has grown to almost $4.2 billion. Now we're getting somewhere, but surely $5 billion would feel better than $4 billion. So you look back at the orchard and start picking apples again. Some tyrannical European guy sails to the Americas and brutalizes the natives. You've made $6.2 billion and worked for 1,504 years. A bunch of guys in white wigs decide Britain sucks and sign a piece of paper. You've made $7.9 billion and worked for 1,780 years. Everyone is scared that a 1 turning into a 2 will break the world. You've made $8.3 billion and worked for 2,003 years. One day, after over 2,000 years of working in your little orchard, you realize it's getting difficult to pick apples again. Your back hurts, your eyes are blurry, and the apples seem so far away. You decide to stop and count your money again. The year is 2020. You've made $8.4 billion and you've worked for 2,024 years. $2,000 per hour, 40 hours per week, 52 weeks per year for 2,024 years. You smile to yourself. $8.4 billion. Surely after working all those years, you're now the richest person on Earth. You take some of your money and buy yourself a smartphone. Time to look up the list of the wealthiest people alive. To your shock, you're not at the top of the list. In fact, you're not even close. There are 57 names above you in the United States alone. Hopefully this thought experiment has helped put into perspective just how staggeringly huge numbers in the billions are. Our stick figure friend worked for over 2,000 years and still didn't crack the top 50 wealthiest people in America list. And that's at $2,000 per hour. Think how many people don't make that in a month. There's another version of this experiment that starts at Christopher Columbus's first voyage and assumes $5,000 per day. By 2020, you wouldn't even have made $1 billion. 528 years at $5,000 a day, and you still wouldn't be a billionaire. Now try it with your income. Here's the formula. Take your hourly wage, multiply by 40 for full time, 52 for weeks in the year, and then try different numbers for the years required. For example, if you make $10 an hour, it would take you over 48,000 years to make $1 billion. So what's the takeaway here? If you ask me, it's that how we value contributions to society is deeply flawed. Look at Jeff Bezos. As of writing this script, he's worth $123 billion. For what? Realizing that you can sell books online? No one earns that kind of money. Frankly, it's obscene. Meanwhile, people who perform critical roles like teaching are paid peanuts, and on top of that are expected to buy their own classroom supplies. If the market decides what's valuable and comes to the conclusion that people who destroy small businesses and exploit their workers are what's truly worthy of billions of dollars, maybe the market as it exists needs to go. To finish off our thought experiment, let's do one more calculation. In order for our stick figure to make $123 billion, he would have to work full-time at $2,000 per hour with no vacations and saving every penny for 29,600 years. Bezos started Amazon when he was 30 years old. He's now 56. No one earns $1 billion. And it is shameful that anyone could ever be worth $123 billion. Don't get me wrong, Bezos is a smart guy, but no one is worth $123 billion. The system needs to change. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, consider subscribing to stay up to date with my latest episodes. If you hated it, feel free to drop a thumbs down and tell me why I'm stupid in the comments. If you really want to help support my channel, I just started a Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/secondthought. You can check out some of my previous work by clicking the links on your screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.